Hi everyone, my name is Paul Israel from the Israel-Australia Chamber of Commerce, and I'm talking to you from my home in Rehovot. It is my pleasure to greet you all to the Welcome to Israel for Australia's new ambassador, His Excellency Paul Griffiths. This webinar is being jointly organised by the IACC and the ZFA, Zionist Federation of Australia. Ambassador, we of course would normally do a welcome in person with a lovely reception with cocktails and opportunity for you to shake hands and meet the key players driving the bilateral relationship face to face. In fact, the Ambassador and Maria, it'd be good if you put your cameras on. Great, thank you. But obviously the current reality dictates us moving to Zoom. Ambassador, we have over 500 people from around the world on this webinar, from not only Australia and Israel, but also from our new friends in neighbouring UAE and Bahrain. Ambassador, together with the ZFA, we've put together a collection of video messages welcoming you to Israel. These are key organisations and people that are instrumental in the Australia-Israel relationship and are all ready and waiting to host you in person. The IACC, as you know, focuses on promoting bilateral trade and sharing the magic of Startup Nation with Australian business people, academics, and government officials. We really enjoy working with the embassy, and as our chairman, Idor Nehushtan, has already said to you already, please look at us as your foot soldiers in providing you and your embassy staff with on-the-ground support. Please note that the ambassador's comments today are off the record. It is now my pleasure to hand over to Maria Ben David from the ZFA. Thanks everyone, and enjoy. Over to you, Maria.
Thank you so much, Paul, and welcome distinguished guests and honorable ambassador to this special virtual event. My name is Moria Ben David, and I'm the Israel Office Director of the Zionist Federation of Australia. The ZFA is a roof organization to all Zionist organizations across Australia. It embodies different activities and different programs that connect between the Aussie Jewish community and the State of Israel. The programs include youth movements, gap year programs, delegations, and of course, assistance to Australians who choose to live in Israel. The Israel office oversees these activities from this side of the globe and assists Olim in their acclimation. Paul, your arrival brings a new and positive wind in these times of COVID-19, and this is refreshing wind is much needed. It highlights the connections and the togetherness that all the bodies attending here today usually have. This welcoming event is an opportunity to celebrate these connections. You know, there's a famous picture of our first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, where he is doing a headstand, and it's a very iconic photo of him. I've learned recently that he explained why he used to do headstands. Apparently he had back pains, and his therapist told him that in order to strengthen his body, he must strengthen his mind. See, as a child, Ben-Gurion was weak and always felt insecure. So to strengthen his mind, he was supposed to do and perform acts that seemed impossible. This is why he used to do headstands, because people thought it would be impossible for him to do so. By the way, after that, his back pains disappeared. I think that this story symbolizes the story of the State of Israel, the state that proves that the impossible is actually possible. Just look at the amazing video that we'll watch very soon. We are so proud of the Australians who choose to live here for their achievements and their contribution to the Israeli society, making the impossible possible. Not only do they hold different senior positions in many fields, they managed to bring the Australian flavor to Israel. We see the embassy as our partner in strengthening the connection between Australia and Israel. Our collaboration and cooperation add so much to this bond, and I'm looking forward to continuing this strong partnership we have, and specifically to working with you, Mr. Ambassador. And maybe you'll catch that everything is possible flavor and fever. Before I hand over the floor to you, Paul, for all those who don't know, Paul has held a number of interesting diplomatic positions worldwide in Washington and Jakarta and more, and additionally held important roles in Australia, on which he will elaborate further in a moment. Paul, on behalf of the ZFA, we wish you the best of luck, and we're looking forward to working with you. Be'atzlacha.
Thank you, Moria, and thank you, Paul. It's really warm welcome, which, to be honest, I'm coming to expect as normal here in Israel. It's been pretty amazing, the warmth the welcome that I've received here, and also the number of Aussies that I meet here. It's a bit like pop-up Aussies sometimes. They seem to be coming up everywhere. Look, I've been asked, thank you for everyone for tuning in. I've been asked to sort of mention just a little bit about myself that hopefully is of use for people, and talk a bit about Australia-Israel relations at the moment and what I want to sort of achieve in the job. So just briefly on myself, I've been in the Foreign Service for a long time now. I started off with a couple of trade postings early on in the career in South Korea and in the Philippines, and worked a lot on coal and gas and oil and energy markets and agriculture, especially in the Philippines. The past 10 years, I guess, has been a bit more relevant, or more recent work, and there I was running the political team in Australia's biggest embassy, actually, in Jakarta, which is a challenging job, as you can imagine, I was also running the political team in our second largest embassy in Washington up until late last year, where I had some overlap with the Obama administration, but most of the time with the Trump administration. So that was a really challenging but fascinating job, and I learned a lot on how to sort of operate with a close ally. In between those two jobs, in between Jakarta and Washington, I ran the budget for the department, and when we joined AusAid and Foreign Affairs together, so there was a big kind of merging of two big organisations and our aid program and the like. But I'm thrilled to be here. I've wanted to work in Israel for a long time. It was a bit of a surprise when I knew it was actually going to happen, which was kind of amazing. And I hope I bring a lot of energy to the job. People ask me why I want to work here. Well, it's kind of a unique combination of meaningful sort of political work and really interesting regional security work. It's got enormous trade potential, which I'll talk about in a minute. There are strong cultural connections and a similar value set, partly through the two countries, but also through the community, which is really exciting. And I also happen to love history, and I love sport and cycling and all these things, and all those things are on my doorstep here. So it's really, I can't tell you how excited I am to sort of be in the job. On the Australia-Israel relations, look, they're strong, and they're getting stronger, actually. Senior Israeli officials tell me that they see Australia as really second only to the US as a supporter of Israel. Like all the best relationships that I've worked on, there's a strong historical connection, and of course, many people would know about Australian soldiers fighting in World War I in the Sinai-Palestine campaign and the charge of the Light Horse at the Battle of Beersheba. We were the first country in 1947 to vote in favour of UN partition, which led to the creation of Israel as the nation state. In 1949, we established diplomatic relations, almost 71 years ago. I think that's 71 years ago. And we presided over the vote admitting Israel to the UN. So there's that really strong sort of historical connection there, and, not to mention via our communities, of course. That support continues internationally for us. We really oppose, we're a supporter of Israel internationally. We oppose any unfair targeting of Israel at the UN, for example. We're very active there. Our policy continues to be to support a two-state solution. We believe that's the best avenue, the best path to lasting peace, and we call out action on either side that undermines that. The past few years, though, have seen a real broadening of cooperation across a range of sectors, especially tech and innovation, in defence, in security. There have been a number of bilateral agreements on for example, double taxation, which no, that doesn't mean both governments get to tax people. That means one government does. On air services, and we've got working holiday arrangements in place that we think will obviously reignite once COVID lifts. Speaking of COVID, we've had to adjust substantially with COVID, as everyone has. Operationally in the embassy, we've got a job to continue to service Australians, and vulnerable. That might be vulnerable people getting home. That might be passports. That might be emergency visas. So there've been some constraints there, but we've largely maintained business and business along those lines, and tried to maintain some continuity. The landing pad is a good example of that. We set that up about a year or so ago with a bit longer, to provide startups with a platform to engage and build business links with Israel. That's gone virtual. That's a good example of what we've managed to go virtual. So its workshops are now virtual, and I'm pleased to say it's oversubscribed. So we can't do enough there, and we're doing our best to sort of keep up with that. While I'm on the commercial relationship, it's a bit modest. It's about bit over $1.5 billion. I think there's a lot of room to do more there, but there's a lot of energy in it, and I certainly intend to do what I can to encourage that, and hope to visit. And many of the people who are listening in, I've lost count of the numbers that we've got online, but it was great. It was a bit intimidating actually, seeing it just tick, 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 tick up. But I certainly intend to do what I can to encourage that, and to visit many of the people and the companies that that are involved in the relationship. We see a lot of scope in defence, in IT, in the range of techs, in ag tech, in fintech, in biotech, in oil and gas at the moment. And I know that when the skies open, there's going to be a healthy sort of stream of business people wanting to come, and I'll be working on making sure we get some senior politicians and some officials here too. So what do I want to achieve? Look, firstly, it's really to get through COVID safely. That's the big priority for anyone and any government really at the moment. For the embassy, that really involves helping Australians to deliver our services in a safe way for our clients and for our staff. Secondly is to give bilateral trade a real push, and there's a lot of intellect there. There's a lot of sort of mutual benefit. There's a lot of drive that we can bring the two countries together in the long term. And third, to faithfully project Australia and represent Australians in Israel. My time in the US already in Israel has sort of taught me to project with sort of confidence, and represent my country confidently. And people who've lived in Australia would know about the tall poppy syndrome, which sometimes limits Australians in projecting themselves. But I think we can do it humbly. We can project confidently, but humbly. We don't need to be Australia doesn't need to be sort of spits at him about it. I can hear people laughing at my accent there, but I'm trying to learn some words. But I think Australia has a lot to be confident about. We rank number 2 in the world according to the UN as a great place to live. We've got a strong 14th largest economy in the world, despite only having 26 million people. Before COVID-19, we had the longest run of any developing country in history of growth in our economy. And COVID-19 has shown that we're well governed. So there's a lot there we can work with. And when you put that alongside the real strengths that I see already in Israel, with its wonderful record of growth, with in recent years particularly with its innovation space, with research and development and technology success, there's a similar value set and really strong community engagements. There's a lot to build on there, and we have the makings of a really strong long-term partnership. So I hope I can do that well for everybody who's listening, and I'm sure I'll get a bit of feedback if I'm not, but I welcome feedback, and I welcome sort of the generation of ideas as well. So let me stop there and hand back to Moria, and we'll see what's next in the agenda. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ambassador. That was beautiful and a great message, and welcome again. So we're now going to show a video that we've put together representing a diverse range of the Australia-Israel connection. So Daniel, can we put the video on, please? and we'll turn our cameras off as panelists. Thank you.
Mr. Ambassador, on behalf of AJAC, the Australia, Israel and Jewish Affairs Council, and more specifically our Rambam Fellowships Program, this is Peter Adler, and I'd like to welcome you to Israel. I look forward to working closely with you and your staff, when hopefully we can once again welcome our study missions of journalists, clergy, trade union leaders, diplomats, and of course members of Parliament to Israel. And these programs, as you know, have been very successful, and much of the success has always been due to the wonderful working relationship we have with the embassy, and of course particularly with the ambassador and the ambassador's office. We look forward to having you meeting with our groups and briefing our groups, and let's hope it's much sooner than later. All the best and welcome to Israel, and I'm sure you'll have a wonderful 3 years here. All the best.
Hello, dear Ambassador. Welcome to our little Australia in Israel. We wish you good luck, and we hope that together we will strengthen the relationships between the Israelis and the Australians. Welcome to Israel.
I'd like to say hello to our new Australian ambassador in Israel. I guess you're going to have to come and see him in person.
Shalom. My name is Hili Bloch-Eshet, and I'm the head of the Arava Australian Partnership of the Jewish Agency. I want to wish you a warm welcome, success in your important roles as the Australian ambassador in Israel. We at the Arava Partnership looking for your visit here in our area. I promise you a sweet date and a fresh watermelon.
On behalf of Netafim Israel and Netafim in Australia, which is based and has manufacturing plant in Melbourne, we trust that our collaboration with Australia will continue to benefit both countries, and we are proud to practice what Alfred Denking said in 1890. It is not the quantity of the water applied to the crop, it is the quantity of the intelligence applied. We would like to extend to you an invitation to our company in Israel, and of course to our plant in Melbourne. בהצלחה.
Shalom, dear Ambassador Griffiths. I want to welcome you to Israel and wish you success in your very important mission. I also want to invite you to Ramat HaNegev Regional Council, which is the largest regional council in Israel. With our friends in Australia, JNF Australia, we managed to do amazing things here in renewable energy, with water, with agriculture, and I invite you to come and to see what we did with our friends.
My name is Doron Klein, and I'm the CEO of Telfed, South African Zionist Federation Israel. We've been working for the last 7 years together with the Zionist Federation of Australia and the Australian Embassy in assisting Australian citizens that come to make Israel their home. I hope that we'll continue to work together for the betterment of the Australian community here in Israel.
Ambassador Paul Griffith, my name is Shalom Norman. I'm the Director General of the Trigubov Institute in Israel. On behalf of our Board of Management and the Chairman of the Board, Mr. Ephraim Alevi, I would like to extend our warm welcome to you and wish you a big success in promoting the good relations between Israel and Australia.
Here at Kangaroo, we raise over 1,000 eucalyptus trees of many different species, all waiting for the right koala.
Right, left. Well, we prefer not to get political here at the zoo. Any koala would be just fine.
Israel. We are in Kibbutz Kfar Aza, and behind me is a beautiful orchard and playground that has been established here thanks to the great support and help from our friends in JNF Australia in the past 3 or 4 years. So whenever you have a chance in your first availability, you're more than welcome to come and visit us, to meet the people, and we even have a spot for you for a tree to be planted.
Dear Paul, hi. Happy that you came, and I want to wish you good luck. Yesterday we went to the President's house and you presented your credentials. And it was a lovely and moving ceremony. And I was so happy to see you there and also proud. I wish you the very best luck. Let's work together to strengthen the excellent relations between Australia and Israel. Please let me know about the scores in the AFL in Australia. I'm looking after it. And enjoy Israel. So take care, my friend, and good luck.
I'm Greer. I've been here since '73. I've spoken to every ambassador since Rowan Dalrymple, and I'm very pleased to welcome you. I've also visited in 3 different premises that have housed the Embassy of Australia, and I look forward to meeting you personally in the very near future.
Your Excellency, Baruch Haba, welcome to Israel. My name is Hila Hadas and I am the CEO of Enosh, the Israeli Mental Health Association. Enosh is the leading mental health organization in Israel, founded in 1978, delivering innovative community-based rehab services and early intervention programs. We have special relationship with Australia. Over the past 8 years, we have adopted and implemented Headspace, the Australian youth mental health model, and last year we opened our second Headspace Center in Jerusalem. We deeply value our partnership with Australia and will be honored to welcome you in one of our centers. On behalf of our 1,900 staff and volunteers, we wish you behatzlacha and very best of luck on your mission here. Hope to meet you soon.
Hey Paul, Griff, Jason here, how are ya? I run one of the gap year programs called Israel by Choice. We bring students from all over Australia, New Zealand and a few other places now. Looking forward to having you for the next few years, playing a bit of cricket again together. I'll see you soon.
This is not so much of a welcome message because we've already met. And I know that I shouldn't play favourites. However, in the one time that we have met, we've also had one Richmond Grand Final win. So I have no idea how we're going to keep up that 100% record. However, I would like to welcome you to Israel, and especially to Tel Aviv. I know that you will love it here. It is a fantastic place to live. We have been in business here for 30 years, and on behalf of James Richardson and as a member of the IACC committee, I welcome you and wish you all the best.
My name is Sarah Vanunu and I'm the co-founder and manager of the Australians Living in Israel Facebook group. We have over 3,000 very active members, engaged members of the community, and we're all very excited to welcome you here. We wish you much success from the lucky country to the promised land.
My name is Avi Gruber and I'm the mayor of Ramat HaSharon, a city just between the place where you're going to live in and the place where you're going to work in. And you are always welcome for a cup of coffee and for a good talk over the local politics. I'm sure that you will find out very soon that Israel got a lot in common with Australia, and I wish you a fruitful, pleasant and interesting term here in Israel. Good luck.
My name's Lior from Melbourne.
I'm Saul. David.
I'm Zach. Yeah, we just want to show we are very much Jewish Australians, Australian Jews. We got a flag here.
Footy here.
Got the footy.
Some Vegemite.
Vegemite. We've been pumping berries. So yeah, good luck for the new role. Shabbat Shalom. Go Swans.
Everyone, go Bombers.
From the Yarkon Park in northern Tel Aviv, on behalf of X-Team, with whom we've already had the pleasure to have you ride with us. Welcome, Paul!
My name is David Chester, originally from Melbourne. I moved here when I was 19 for military service. Today, I'm a corporate lawyer at Griffiths & Co-Law Offices, right around the corner from yours at the Embassy. And I'm also an active member of our firm's Australian Desk Practice. And I'm excited to meet you, hopefully very soon in the near future, in order to explore ways for us to cooperate together.
Welcome to Israel, Ambassador Paul Griffiths. 2 years ago, with the encouragement and assistance of the IACC, we decided to open up the Spark Beyond office in Australia and connect our AI platform to business and social impact down under. In those 2 short years, we are very proud of the impact we generate, both business and social, from connecting ESG funds that investing in commercial real estate in Sydney, to actually finding some very deep drivers that connect chicken prices and banana prices to affordable housing demand in Queensland, and even Early Start, which is a great program that we are associated with, to find some very early drivers that can detect learning disabilities in very early stage. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We are committed to the journey and very excited about the road ahead. And during the last 2 years, we made another very important decision, and we actually opened up an office in Melbourne, Victoria. And now we have a great Melbourne-based team that we are very proud of.
Welcome, Paul, to Israel, and welcome to Kibbutz, Israel.
Hi, Paul. Welcome to Kibbutz, Israel. Up north in the Jezreel Valley, the cradle of the state of Israel. Kibbutz Israel was settled by Aussies and Kiwis. It's the home of the rugby champions of Israel, home of Matronics, which has got offices in 4 capital cities in Australia, and we look forward to seeing you here with us on the Kibbutz sooner rather than later. Wonderful.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Ella. I am from Melbourne and I'm a study on Hobbit and Draw, Australia. And yeah, I just want to wish you the best of luck and congratulations on your new position here in Israel.
Shalom, welcome Mr. Ambassador. My name is Andy Michelson. I'm originally from Melbourne. I work for an organisation known as Keren Kayemet Israel, the Jewish National Fund. Since 1901, the year of Australian Federation, the Jewish National Fund has been creating quality of life projects here in Israel for all of its toshavim, for all of its citizens. We are one of the world's oldest environmental organisations, and we are very proud of the work that we do here.
My name is Esti Goldwasser. I head the Australian department here in Israel in KKL-JNF. We're actually standing out of our headquarters in Jerusalem right now. We're very proud of having partners and branches around the world supporting our projects. In Australia, there is a lovely organization, Jewish National Fund of Australia, that together we support projects of building communities in the Negev. We support water projects, parks and recreation areas, and Anzac projects as the Anzac Trail and the Anzac Memorial Center in Beersheba.
Welcome, Paul! Paul, we're very excited to see you play with us. Come and have fun.
There's a big Australian community here, and we'd like to welcome you to join our community.
I grew up playing netball every weekend down in Coringa in Sydney and loved every minute of it. Israel netball's come a long way since I arrived. We're now involved in schools. We have 6 clubs around the country, and we also do a mixed girls and guys game here and there.
On behalf of the IACC, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you, Ambassador Griffiths, to your new post as the Australian Ambassador to Israel. I know that you are a man of the world and have served in many roles and positions, but I truly suspect that this one will be one to remember. A few interesting insights about the state of Israel. It is relatively young, 72 years or so. It carries a long trail of history and tradition. It's the land of the Bible. It's extremely small. It fits into Australia roughly 350 times and quite condensed. It is sacred to all 3 monotheistic religions. It's a uniqueness that comes with a burden. Its history in the new era is nothing short of a miracle. It came into the world in a battle and is still fighting ever since. And it developed over the years an ecosystem of innovation, entrepreneurship, and chutzpah. I feel obliged to mention the unique role of Australia in changing the course of history for the Jewish nation. One swift victory of Anzac over the Ottoman army in the Battle of Beersheba have literally ended over 600 years of Ottoman ruling and opened the path for the independent state of Israel. There are several Commonwealth cemeteries in Israel to commemorate that. 173 Australian fallen are buried in Beersheba. Today, the bond between our countries is as strong as ever. More than that, there is a great affection to Australia and to Australians in Israel. Maybe because of some similarities of character. We both dislike formalities and discipline. Some word of awareness about us Israelis: we're noisy, we lack manners, but we're much like the sabra fruit, prickly on the outside and sweet from the inside. Mr. Ambassador, the IACC is an outstanding organization with an elite team that is there for one purpose, and that is to promote the ties between our countries, commercial and more. I can tell you that over the last couple of years, we have enjoyed a spike of 40 to 50 missions annually. Under normal conditions, we'll probably meet many of those missions in your residence in Hayeshel Street in Herzliya. We look forward to the resumption of those days and to working with you to promote the ever so strong ties between our countries. Cheers and welcome to Israel.
Welcome to Israel, Ambassador Griffiths. My name is Manny Wax, and I'm the head of Voice CSA, formerly Culver Oz. We combat child sexual abuse in the global Jewish community. Obviously, the Michael Leifer case has been a prominent one, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Embassy and the Australian Government for all its efforts in ensuring that justice will hopefully prevail. In the meantime, I hope you have a successful tenure here and during this day, and that you take full advantage of what Israel has to offer. Beautiful beaches, the food, the culture, the music. And of course, Israel is also renowned for high tech and security. But as an Australian, I'm not going to leave anything to chance. So perhaps you want to recommend this to your security as well. Go Blues!
Welcome you to Israel. My name is Michael Harari. I'm a paediatrician from Melbourne. We're standing outside the children's ward at Ziv Hospital in Tzfat. Your predecessor, Dave Sharma, came here on many occasions to see the treatment of the Syrians, and when you come up we'll have much to say about that as well. So please come up north one day. All the best. Welcome.
On behalf of the team of Gan Guru and myself, I would like to wish you Shalom and Baruch Haba. Gan Guru was established 1996 with the help and support and a lot of pushing from the Australian Embassy to Israel. We would like to invite you, deep in from our hearts, to come and visit with your family here at Gan Guru Park Australia, Israel, which is a unique zoo and park in the world.
Good afternoon. My name is James Farkas, or Chaim in Hebrew. Originally hail from Sydney, Australia, but now called Tel Aviv home. And here on behalf of the Ichud Shivat Zion community. You can see our lovely synagogue in the background. And I invite you to our synagogue any Saturday morning. We'll greet you with a nice whiskey, a bit of traditional schmaltz herring, and we wish you lots of success here in your new role. Last week in the weekly Bible portion, we read how God said to Abraham that he should go out from his homeland and he should venture out into the world. You have a distinguished record, Mr. Ambassador, of having served your country in the USA, in Southeast Asia, and now you have the Holy Land of Israel to add.
Hello, Ambassador Griffiths. This is Benji Gilman from myinterview.com. I'm CEO of MyInterview, which was the first company to participate in the Austrade Landing Pads program. We now have headquarters here in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and in Sydney, Australia.
Welcome, Mr. Ambassador, to Israel. My name is Gary Stock. I'm sitting on a beautiful autumn day at Ramat Raziel in the hills of Judea near Jerusalem. I'm the other part of the James Richardson Welcoming Committee. You met Andrew Danos, and we've been the principal operator at Ben Gurion Airport since 1988. Sadly, things are much quieter there than usual, but we hope to have the opportunity to show you the operation as soon as it's convenient for you. In the meantime, welcome to this very special country with the incredible people that you'll meet here. All the very best.
We're the Gelwer family from Melbourne, Australia. We moved here 6 years ago. and we live in a place called Far Pines, and I learned how to play the didgeridoo in Israel. So there you go. Paul Griffiths, wishing you all the best of luck.
Welcome to Israel.
Welcome to Israel, Paul, and
have a great time.
Enjoy, and thank you for your service, and hopefully see you around.
My name is Nathan Cherney, and I'm the professor of palliative medicine at the Shari Tzedek Medical Center in Jerusalem. I had the very special pleasure and privilege of being awarded an AM by Chris during his tenure in Tel Aviv, and made a very, very special experience for me and my extended family.
Hi, I'm Nikki, and welcome to Israel. I'm from Australia, but I've been living here in Jerusalem for just over a year now, working as the chairperson for Netzer, which is the Progressive Jewish Youth Movement. Our team here runs a gap year program, bringing people from all around the world to Israel, and half of the people in that group are from Australia. Those people then return home and become the young leaders of their communities. We really value the relationship that we have, and we look forward to working with you more in the future.
From Beersheba, we would like to congratulate you as the new ambassador of Australia in Israel. And we're happy to tell you that we are the Anzac Memorial Center open to the public since this week. So you and your staff are welcome here to Beersheba. See you and good luck.
On behalf of the Israel Life Saving Federation, Shalom and G'day. We welcome you with open arms and rescue troops. We look forward to continuing on our partnership with the Australian Embassy to utilise one of Australia's greatest exports, and that is the Surf Life Saving Australian model for aquatic management, and we are committed to saving lives on Israeli beaches.
Hey Paul, nice to meet you. My name is Lior. I'm head of marketing in Billabong Israel. Billabong Israel is an Australian brand. Try to bring the Australian vibes to our stores. I work directly with my Australian fellas on a daily basis. Me myself, I was in Australia last year. Such a good time. You have a wonderful country. I want to wish you to enjoy our country and our beautiful culture. We don't have beer, but we have hummus and falafel. We don't have the Gold Coast, but Tel Aviv beaches are pretty sick. I'm pretty sure you're gonna enjoy it as much as I enjoy Australia. Good luck, and we are here for you, the friends in Billabong, Israel.
I'm Noah Zulu. I'm a didgeridoo artist and a music producer. I started with the Didgeridoo Israeli Festival. We have this one that happens every year for maybe 12 or 13 years already. Would love that the Israelis and the Australian and the Aboriginals and people from the modern playing and the ancient ways of playing can gather here in Israel together in the festivals and learn from each other and play with and for each other. And we hope it will happen with you, Griffith. So good luck again and welcome, and thanks a lot. See you.
Shalom. My name is Aran Tirosh, and I'm the chairman of the Society for the Heritage of World War I in Israel. On behalf of the Society, I wish to welcome the new Australian ambassador to Israel, Paul Griffiths. The Society has a long connection to Australia, mostly through our connection to the ALHA, the Australian Lighthouse Association. We share a sister organizations agreement, and we were very active with their Israel tours, including the 2017 reenactment of the Riding Along the Negev Desert Flanking Movement and the Charge of Beersheba. A few days ago, on Armistice Day, we honored the fallen of all nations by a short ceremony at the Ramleh British Commonwealth War Cemetery. The ceremony was followed by a tour of the cemetery to select the graves and headstones representing all nations and races who fought in this part of the world during the Great War. We commemorated the Australians at the plot where the fallen of the Battle of El Burj are buried. We wish you a successful service in our wonderful yet complicated country. We will be delighted to show you around sites connected to the Australian forces here.
This is John Medved, and I'm the CEO and founder of Our Crowd. We're Israel's most active venture capital investor and big believers in the Australian-Israel relationship, which is an incredible thing. I want to give you a warm welcome, Ambassador Griffiths, for coming and joining us here. We are excited about having you. We've worked with many of the ambassadors from Australia. We work closely with the Australian-Israel Chamber of Commerce, and we actually have an office for Our Crowd in Sydney, Australia, with activity around the country in Melbourne and other cities. And I must say that Australia has been not only good on us, but good for us. It has been an incredible journey together with our Australian investors and partners. We're working with the largest bank, the National Bank of Australia, and working with literally thousands of independent Australian investors who are now backing joint business between Israel and Australia. You're going to have a great time here. Look forward to meeting you in person. Welcome to Israel.
My name is Ethan. I'm currently a lone soldier from Melbourne, Australia. I spent a year in a religious institution in Jerusalem, and now I've drafted into the IDF in the Golani Brigade, and yeah, good luck for it all.
G'day Paul, my name is Asim Ostrovsky and I'm the Israel Affairs Director for the Zionist Council of New South Wales. Look, on behalf of the Zionist Council, we do a lot of work in terms of strengthening the Australian-Israel bilateral relations, specifically within the community of New South Wales, working with both lawmakers, civil society, and certainly a lot of youth groups. So looking forward to working closely with you and supporting, strengthening and developing this really amazing relationship between our two countries.
Hi, Ambassador Paul Griffiths.
The team of the Israel-Australia Chamber of Commerce
that promotes bilateral trade and investments
between Australia and Israel.
We wish you a very warm welcome
to Israel, the startup nation,
where innovation meets industry and research.
And we wish you best of luck.
My name is Michal Lashansky and I work here at the National Library of Israel. I'm currently standing in the Ardon Hall with the beautiful Ardon windows behind me. We've actually recently just finished or we're in the process of working on a collaboration with the National Library of Australia where we've digitised many of the newspapers, many of the Jewish newspapers from Australia, and to have access to those newspapers in our databases as well. So we really appreciate the collaboration and we hope to see more collaborations with the Australian government in the future.
Hi and shalom. My name is Daniel and I work at Extra Health. Firstly, we wish to congratulate and extend a warm welcome to Ambassador Griffiths. Here at Extra Health, we provide telehealth services for patient treatment and rehabilitation. We uniquely use VR technologies to assist physicians, which are developed here in our R&D centre in the heart of Tel Aviv. One of our first successful clinics is based in Melbourne, and they're doing an amazing job to have supported hundreds of patients so far. We wish to continue building partnership and collaboration between the two countries and wishing you the best of luck.
Shalom from Jerusalem. I'm making this video to wish you a warm welcome to this country. I made Aliyah from Melbourne 3 years ago. I now work for Plastics 1J Media, where I'm the Jerusalem correspondent, and also Kids for Peace Jerusalem, which is an interfaith youth movement. And I hope that in your stay with us for the next couple of years, your ambassadorship can also promote Australian values of tolerance and respect and equality for all in this country, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person one day.
Hi, my name is Alon Davidi. I'm the mayor of Sderot. I'm standing in the operations center of Sderot. We work together with the JNF of Australia, and I want to say that your help and your support help us to continue in this situation, and I wish you a luck and I wish for all of us peace and a good life.
Hi,
For the CEO Forum of the Israeli companies traded at the Australian Securities Exchange, we're very happy to welcome you here. We look forward to expanding on the opportunities for the Startup Nation companies in the Australian capital markets and offer our help and resources working with you to bring even more prosperity to our two nations. Welcome.
G'day Paul, my name's Daniel, and the only thing I love more than boundless planes to share is a cracking bowl of hummus.
Hello, my name's Tiffy, and welcome to Israel. I'm sure you'll love the falafels.
I'm sure you'll love the straw.
You'll love the beaches here.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Oi, oi, oi!
Hi, my name is Nechama Klein, and I am from the Masa program of IBC, which stands for Israel by Choice. I would just like to welcome the new ambassador, Paul Griffiths, to this beautiful country that I have been lucky enough to call my home for the past year. Thanks to the support of Keren Hayasad and the UIA, programs that support Israelis and young Jews worldwide have been able to run incredibly successfully, including programs like IBC. So, from one Aussie to another, I would just like to wish you good luck and all the best in your new position, Ambassador Griffith.
Ambassador Griffith, Shalom, and welcome to Israel, and more importantly, welcome to Save a Child's Heart, particularly in this year when Save a Child's Heart is celebrating 25 years of its existence. In these 25 years, the organization has treated more than 5,500 children suffering from heart disease from 62 countries around the world and trained dozens of medical practitioners from partner sites in developing countries. Save a Child's Heart has been active in Australia for almost 20 years now. From the very beginning, together with Paul Israel and the Chamber of Commerce, we've been hosting groups, Australian groups here of politicians and journalists and diplomats, not only with the Chamber, but also with AJAC, with a view of sharing with the public in Australia what Save a Child's Heart is doing here in the Middle East, in Africa, and globally. We're here to showcase Israel at its best and to show how Israel reaches out to make the world in which we live a better place. I wish you a very successful term here in Israel, and I look forward to hosting you here at Save a Child's Heart and at the new Children's Hospital. All being well, should be opened in the spring of 2021.
Ambassador Griffiths, welcome to Israel. I'm Joe, originally from Perth, a MA student at the Kinneret Academic College, where we commemorate each year the 1918 battle which forced the Turkish army out of Israel. The Seamek railway station is situated just where the Sea of Galilee meets the triple borders of Jordan, Israel and Syria, and has been the site of a number of battles for that exact reason. Early morning on September the 25th, 1918, units of the 11th and 12th Light Horse Regiments under Chauvel, Grant and John Parsons charged the station in complete darkness and fought a pitched battle against the Turkish garrison, which was ordered to fight to the last man. At dawn, the station was theirs with 19 men killed. 6 days later, Australian soldiers entered Damascus and World War I ended 5 weeks after that. The memorial garden here in the Kinneret Academic College campus features the statue of Jack Pollard, an Aboriginal Australian, laying a wreath at the grave of an Australian mate who fell here. The visitor centre tells the story of the battle and the heroism of the Australian soldiers. We hope you'll visit this wonderful place and hear of the events that happened here 102 years ago, and hear about what's being done today to foster the education and the historic content in the periphery of Israel.
Hey, true blue. Hey, true blue. Give it to me straight. Face to face.
Great, welcome back. So as you can see, the bilateral relationship, people talk about Australia-Israel, but it's more than just the shared values and mutual interests. It's really about the people-to-people connection, which I think was really evident in the video. So I thank Maria from ZFA for helping us put it together, Gidon Shavit, the AICC team, in particular Shana and Daniel. And Ambassador, everyone in the video expects to meet you in person, but also there are many others who couldn't make the video, which we apologise to. So I want to hand over to you just to say a few words before we wrap it up with the national anthems. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. I've actually got a list of about 100 people I have to meet in Israel, and I think it just went up to about 250. Look, I mean, that's really overwhelming, actually, and thank you very much to IACC and to ZFA for putting it together, and the people who did. I really appreciate it. It really demonstrates to me the breadth and the depth of connections and the warmth of connections that are already in place here. It's been, as I said, I've said to people before, I've been really struck. I've worked on some, big relationships of importance to Australia, Indonesia and the US in particular, and it's really, really striking as you come here just how connected the two countries are and the people, and it's quite moving, actually, to the point where I wonder if I've got a job here at all, because it's already been done. So look, despite those the COVID restrictions, I've really found that people have been very kind and generous in welcoming me here, and that video is real testament to that. So I just hope that I can represent Australia skillfully, and I'm feeling the expectations already. So if that was the purpose of this session in the video, then job done. But I hope that we can make together, we can all sort of make, when we're trying to achieve something in the relationship, be it in business, be it in philanthropy, be it in, the range of other, politics, defence, the other things that people have really beautifully represented in that video, that we think of one another first and foremost, and I can push things along to achieve that. So thanks to the video makers, the video participators, the people who are still online watching now, and I look forward to meeting everyone. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So just to keep it on time, I'm going over time, I'm going to hand over now to Savannah Svee, who's another Australian who lives here, Ambassador. She's an Australian-born singer, songwriter and performance artist, and she's going to sing the national anthem. So over to you, Savannah. Thank you so much. We'll mute. I think we'll stay on video. But I'll mute.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, and let us sing. Advance Australia fair. Kolot balevav panima, nefesh Yehudi homia, ulefa'atem Mizrach kadima, ayin letzion Sophia. Od lovda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liot am chofshi be'artzenu eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Liot am chofshi be'artzenu בירושלים.
Thank you, Savannah. That was beautiful. I failed to mention Savannah did an amazing performance for the bushfire fundraiser we did earlier this year. So that was fantastic. So we'll sign off. We'll say goodbye together. So shalom. Thank you so much, everyone, for being part of it.
Thank you so much. Lots of
And
luck.
Israel.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sign off.